Hi everybody and welcome to Leeds TV here, reviewing your Charlton Athletic 1, Leeds United 0. And how many wake-up calls do we need now? You know, we've had Swansea, we had Barnsley. In my personal opinion, Barnsley were very unfortunate to not get a result against us, very unfortunate. You've got Derby and now Charlton. But, the three previous, I thought, we'd maybe learn our lessons, but we haven't. We've done the exact same thing. We've set up sort of the exact same way, sort of the rigid structure that we've been setting up for 2 years now, which, has brought us success. Well, has it? I'm questioning myself now. It's brought us success league position-wise. Has it brought us success in general? It's made us better, I guess. But, it's hard to analyse, really, because Charlton deserved that. They completely deserved that. We didn't deserve anything there. I thought we were pretty poor. We were substandard. We didn't create anything really. Bamford didn't really have a clear-cut chance. Eddie, when he came on for 45, didn't really have a clear-cut chance. Costa couldn't get into the game. Harrison was the exact same Harrison again. I must be on cloud nine, guys. I just do not see what Bielsa sees in that lad. A lot of you will come on here and turn around and say, well, he wasn't the worst, but once again, why did we get him back? What's the point? What is the point? Can't cross the ball, can't take a man on, can't shoot. I don't know. It is the most frustrating thing, and we just feel like, do you then look at the coaching staff, because it follows a blueprint of last season. Some of the performances like Hull at home and Birmingham at home, and it's just the exact same style of football, and maybe ultimately that's why in his career Bielsa hasn't been successful. Obviously his achievements at Newell's Old Boys, but Atletico, obviously Marseille, Lazio, unfortunately didn't work out for him. Lille didn't work out for him. Obviously I know these are clubs in top divisions, but you do question it, don't you? You do tend to question it, and I do question a lot of things at this moment in time, because I just don't see us as that different from last year. I see us playing this pressing high football. That sort of, for me, it dips off. It dips off after 20 minutes. Massively, we just dip. That high press goes, Leeds. We saw it against Derby. The press just went after 55 minutes. Exactly the same against Barnsley. The press just went. Exactly the same against Forest. The press just went after 50, 60 minutes. Are we actually as fit as we think we are? Don't know. Why are we sort of starting with the same 11 that we have done for really the previous year as well? We're just predictable. If I was a manager, I just know how to play against us, and maybe it's because we've seen such substandard rubbish for the past 15 years that when we look at this team, we think it is unbeatable. We think we are the best, far into the best. No team comes near to us this season, but maybe we're a little bit naive. Maybe we're being a little bit ignorant, because there is such a blueprint on how to set up against Leeds United, and I don't think it was that difficult for Charlton today. They were organised at the back, quick up front, physical in midfield. And that's all like Norwich were last year. That's all Birmingham, Hull, QPR, Sheffield United were last year. That's all they were. And we can't seem to overcome that. I just think we're very quiet. I think if I was an opposition manager, I'd know the blueprint of how to set up against Leeds. And if you can maintain your concentration as an opposition team, you're going to get a result. You're going to get a result, whether or not be that a draw, which a lot of teams will take against Leeds, or a win. A cheeky 1-0 or a 2-0. I thought that. I said to the guys on the group chat at half time, I said Charlton are going to win this 2-0. And you know what? In the second half, I wasn't far off. I really wasn't, and that wasn't because I was being negative. It was just the patterns of play. It's the exact same sort of thing. Us making substitutions, big substitutions at half time, when maybe alter the starting lineup. And we maybe get a little bit of success. We maybe throw Charlton off. Charlton think, oh, well, Jamie Shackleton's playing. He's announced that in his press conference. Don't stop announcing the team in the press conference. It gives opposition such an advantage. Does it at the basic level, grassroots. You can do that at Sunday League. If you announce to the Sunday League six-a-side team that you're starting Harry and Tom in the midfield, the opposition team are going to adjust to that. I'm talking a complete waffle, but in any standard of football, 6-a-side, 11-a-side, grassroots, top level, if you tell the opposition 3 days before how you're going to start, they're going to be able to manipulate, and that's sometimes where Bielsa just frustrates me because it's like the honesty just it is. I mean, the guy got the FIFA Fair Play Award, so I'm a little bit like, all right, but at this level and with this amount of managers and players who have so much nous up here of playing in this division and playing in the lower leagues, that is only going to play into their hands. And I just think with this starting lineup and how we go about things in this 4-1-4-1 formation, and we'll have the ball, teams are going to have to sit back, but we've seen it for 2 years now. I mean, how many teams beat us in that final calendar sort of 6 months last season? Was it 12 losses in 24, which is literally awful records. That's not far off relegation form. I say relegation form, more mid-table, but yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've written things down, guys, because I just wanted to go down with it a little bit and proper put an analysis in. I was writing things through the game, really. But have we got a bit of a blind faith in a lack of quality? I mean, Harrison, for me, I mean, I can't, I don't know. You guys must see something different to what I do. Gets the ball, cuts inside. If he can't find that 5-yard pass into the box, he'll cross it and it'll hit the first man, or it'll go 4 yards over Bamford and into touch, or he'll get the ball on the counter-attack. He's not quick enough, doesn't open his body up, and when he does open his body up, the ball gets muddled up in his feet. And the good things we talk about is his Velcro touch, and I mean, that's really it. I can't think of anything else. I mean, there was so many opportunities today where he could have got the ball out. He had so much space. There was actually a lot of space in the middle at the edge of the box. Leeds had a lot of space there, but we just didn't manipulate it. We excuse my French, and I'm not going to swear. We muck around with it so much in our third. Sometimes we overplay it in our third. Sometimes we play ourselves into trouble. Sometimes it's great having the ball and all this sort of stuff and being able to neatly play it, but sometimes you just need to learn to put your foot through it, and that is just the fundamental of football. It's a fundamental of football at this level as well. Second tier English football is completely different to Premier League football. Teams in the Premier League are more open, they're more expansive. You'll be able to, play the ball around at the back, and they won't play with such a high and aggressive press. In the Championship, it is just full throttle. And it's physicality, and teams will do that, and they'll match you. And we face that so many times, and I think we've got a lack of quality in this side to play this system. I think with Bielsa's teams previously, he's had teams who can play this style of football and get great success with it. His Bilbao side, his Marseille side in the first half of his season, a little bit of Lille. I think he's had a better quality of football, and I think Bielsa's that loyal to his subjects at the minute that he's trying to improve them that much, which is so graceful in a manager, because that's what a manager's ultimately for. Is to improve players and make them better, not just go to the chairman's a la 10, 20 bosses in this league and ask for a big paycheck and say, look, I want to get X, Y and Z in this squad. Bielsa doesn't do that. But I think he's got too much loyalty, and I think we've got a lack of quality. I thought at the start of the season, that maybe the Nketiah and Costa thing would get us over the line, but I think we've got a real hangover from the core squad of last season. I think there's a massive mentality issue, a huge mentality issue. And are we that good? Are we that good? We play lovely little passages of play in tight little corners, and we create so many chances. But what's the measure of being a good team? Is it putting the other team away? Is it being effective and efficient in front of goal? Is it having a lower XG and converting many chances from having a lower amount of chances? That's what I would say. And being able to be structurally robust like Burnley's have and Wolves have even, and Newcastle and Brighton of previous years. There's never been a team like Leeds. There's never been a manager like Bielsa in this division, and I'm just not 100% sure it works. And you evaluate it and you look at it and you see the wake-up calls of last season with your QPRs, your Hulls, your Birminghams, your Norwiches, your Sheffield Uniteds, all these games where you think, all right, well, we're going to learn from this. But there doesn't seem to be a pattern of learning from it. We stick with the same team. Bielsa and his staff seem to think that he wants to give them a chance. There's a loyalty there. But it's going to hinder us and we're going to suffer from it because he doesn't chop and change. We actually did something a little bit different in the second half. We played 3-5-2. That didn't work at all. I mean, to play 3-5-2, hopefully they've been doing it in training as sort of like a second tactic. One session we worked with 3-5-2, the other one we worked with the 4-1-4-1. I personally think this side would work much better with a 4-4-2 diamond. I said it in my preview. I think this side will be much more balanced with that, and I think it will be more effective. But I love Helder Costa as a player, and in the first half, I thought it was pretty embarrassing how I thought Dallas had a really poor game today, a really poor game. He couldn't find a pass. He defensively was poor. Lecco was beating him all the time on the right-hand side, and he didn't play to Costa's strengths. There'd be so many times where Costa would be doing exactly what Bielsa told him to do last weekend, which was hug the byline in the first half. Dallas would just cut inside and swing his left foot at it and give it to Shackleton. Shackleton would get caught. Charlton would be playing narrower. It's exactly where they want Leeds to have the ball. And in the second half, I can't deny it. Obviously he changes it round and puts Costa to a right wing back, which I'm not sure Costa's played right wing back in his career at all. And I mean, I'm sure there's no training going into that tactic for me. No training going into that. We look so lifeless and legless and not fluid in the counter attack at all, or not fluid in the formation at all. So I think he's just, a lot of people are going to dig out Costa after this because obviously he's going to be the scapegoat because he came in. But I don't think you can blame him at all. I think you put him right wing back. He's never played. I've just checked before this. He's never played right wing back in his career. He's played right wing and he's played centre forward and left wing. He's predominantly higher up the field. I don't understand why he didn't start Roberts and Forshaw. I put it on a tweet before the game. Shackleton doesn't offer enough protection. But this is what I'm talking about with the blind faith of sticking with the exact same squad for some unbeknown reason. But he does this. He does this a lot. He sticks until they prove people wrong, which is admirable. But it's not ruthless enough for this division. You've got to chop and change. Roberts comes into this squad. I thought he did well when he came on, but Roberts comes into this squad and we offensively look better. We can change, we can get up, he can be closer to Bamford, we can be closer. Bamford once again was isolated. I thought in the second half against Derby and Forest he was isolated. Roberts gets closer to him, and I thought when Roberts came on he did well, but to start Shackleton again when, for me, the midfield battle was lost against Derby towards the back embers of the game. Shackleton was retreating far too much. I don't want to put burn on him because he's only a kid, but you come into it and you start for a Leeds United side, you're open for criticism, as is Forshaw, as is Click, as is Bamford. Unfortunately, I know you're a kid, but you're open to criticism. And against Barnsley in particular, we lost that midfield battle against Barnsley. I thought Marriot was, in that game in particular, I thought he ran Shackleton pretty ragged when they had the ball on the offensive front and Shackleton was defending. So Phillips automatically is open to get stretched. He's always going to be stretched because he's not got protection in front of him. And Leeds either change it with putting Roberts in the 10, getting Click back in the 8, or we put Forshaw in as an offer of protection for Phillips. We didn't do that. We reverted back to 3 at the back. Phillips was awful in that second half. I thought he was pretty woeful in the first half. He was awful in that second half. He cannot play at the back. He cannot play in that 3. I've always said it. I don't think Ayling can as well. And he reverts to that, and I admire him putting 2 up front with Nketiah at Bamford, but I just think there needs to be a little bit more balance. It was just such a dramatic change to the squad, and you could see they were all trying to get used to it in the first 10 minutes, and I just think we start up with a better starting 11. We become a little bit less predictable. Don't announce your team 3 days before we start the game, and we'll have a little bit more of a better chance. We're not streetwise enough. You saw Charlton completely dictate that game in the second half with regards to stopping, getting in the referee's ear, that Lockyer in particular, getting in the referee's ear. But you can't blame them because, the referee should stamp out on that. But if you're a Charlton player, if you're a Derby player, if you're a Barnsley player, you're going to try and get every advantage you can. And Lockyer got yellow carded and he kept going in the referee's ear. And the reason Lockyer does that is because he knows no referee hands out 2 yellow cards for dissent. They don't do it. It never happens. So he's just going to keep going. He's going to keep slowing the game down. Kept getting in front of free kicks, asking the referee for a word. That's been streetwise. And I don't think we're streetwise enough. And what Charlton do is they kept exploiting us. This is the predictability again. Leeds going to the wings. Dallas was doing it continuously in the first half. Harrison was as well. We lose all thought process in here of how to play it inside or to Costa, for example, on Dallas's side. So what do? We revert to lumping it in the ball when there's only Bamford in the box. It's not going to happen, and that's playing into Charlton's hands every time, and that's why they brought on Jason Pearce, because they knew all Leeds were doing was getting it out wide, crossing it in, and I mean, just do not learn. We just do not learn. Set pieces, once again, we know exactly what we're getting into. You know, LUFC data on Twitter tweeted out that we've conceded 3 now of our 5 goals from set pieces. I thought we should have conceded 2 or maybe 3 against Barnsley. Forest were unlucky at one point not to get another one as well. I remember that. Dawson just shaved it over the crossbar. We are massively susceptible, and that was Bielsa's choice. It was Bielsa's choice to have the players in, and we're all going to be supportive, of course, when it's going well, and supportive when it's going badly, but we all knew it. You know, when Janssen went out the door, I love Ben White, but for me, you've got to look at it strategically. Darren Prattley's playing, he's 6'3". You've got Gallagher playing, who's touching 6 foot, and in the middle, we put Jamie Shackleton, who's about 5'6". Charlton are going to exploit us via counter-attacks and set pieces. Why not try and get a bigger man in the middle? Why not try and manipulate it so we have a more success rate in the middle? You know, when we're defending corners or even when we're attacking corners, to have a little bit more height. And we don't seem to do that. This is where I'm talking about the strategic thing. Like, this is where it just baffles me. Shackleton was just, you know, they're going to come on to us at home. They're going to be quick at home. They're going to be getting us on the counter-attack from at home. We saw the blueprint with Barnsley. Charlton are a very similar team. Set pieces are going to be strong. Shackleton suffered in that game. Why are we putting him in again? That just doesn't go with me. I don't understand. And we started good, but once again, the goal went in and we fell apart. There was about a 15-20 minute spell where we just couldn't get hold of the ball. They were coming on for a second, and Lee Bowyer got it right, as Gary Monk did, as Nigel Atkins did, as Chris Wilder did, as Farker did. I don't think it's difficult with Leeds. I don't think it is. I think if you frustrate the crowd, the away crowd or the home crowd, whatever it may be, and you stick 11 men behind the ball and you hit us with quick counter-attacks and you get us on set pieces, those 3 things, and you maintain your concentration, you've got a real chance against Leeds. And we don't seem to mix it up at all. We seem to come in with the exact same squad every week, the exact same setup, the exact same substitutions, and it's very, very predictable. Very, very predictable. We've got a lot of tough teams coming, and I mentioned here about being streetwise. If we're not streetwise, if we don't get streetwise quickly, and I'm not sure you can embed that into a squad, I think that's just something you have up here. We've got teams like Cardiff, teams like Borough, teams like West Brom, all teams like that coming up, Luton. You know, these are teams that are streetwise. They've been together for a long time, and they're going to know how to play the referee. They're going to know how to slow the game down. They're going to know where Leeds' weaknesses are, which is set pieces. So what do we do to combat that? Well, we get the goal first. We take our chances. We work on it in training, which I presume they're doing, but it just doesn't show. You know, that first 15 minutes, we had 3 or 4 massive chances, didn't score again, and it is just remarkable. It's confidence and it's quality. I don't think we have the quality to play this system and be successful and win the league with this system, or even get in the top 2, because we do not have the quality to play how Bielsa wants us to play. For me, that's what I think. But yeah, Bielsa, I just highlighted a quote here at the end of the QPR game last year, and it was the fact that we weren't able to dictate the game means that we weren't successful. And he's just said this after this game, now the Charlton game: the fact that we did not impose superiority is the expectance of what happens, which is essentially paraphrasing exactly the same thing as what he said in the QPR game. The exact same things are happening, guys, and I couldn't turn around to you and say how we fix it. I think Thorpe Arch and the staff, the Bielsa staff who were earning, the combined nature of all of them are earning, 3.5 million for the year. They've got to figure this out, because I think we're becoming very, very predictable. Very, very, very predictable. And I think there's sort of 3 or 4 blueprints to play against Leeds United. And I think it's not that difficult if you maintain organisation and maintain concentration. Huge game coming up on Tuesday. I have to say I'm not massively confident. I watched West Brom earlier on today. Very quick on the counter-attack and a very physical team as well. two of the Achilles heels of Leeds United. Anyway, I'm just pretty downhearted after that because I don't think we deserved anything from it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please like the video if you did enjoy it. I know it's been a bit downbeat, but we're here with a realistic notion. I'm not just going to BS you. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we'll see you in a bit.